I'd start with a welcome.
Welcome to the Buckhorn Podcast. I'm Martelle, and with me always is...
Why the delay?
Day drinking.
Yeah, you're in a way better mood than I am.
I know.
I'm groggy.
I'm hitting the trifecta of beer, wine, and whiskey today.
Ooh, you're sipping on something. I am not. I am 6 days into my 75 days of...
Sobriety.
Not just sobriety, but that's one of them. Whole tracking what I'm eating and exercising, and
Yeah, I'm getting fat and sassy.
well, I've been fat and sassy.
I'm getting fatter and sassy.
I probably won't lose any sassiness. I'm trying to lose a bit of the fat part though. But anyway, yeah, it's good. I'm feeling good.
Good.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind sipping on what you're sipping on because we've been talking about it for a while, but I'm not jealous, so that's a good sign.
Well, that's good, because it's Woodford Rye.
It
and
is.
It's an experimental.
It is, which is why I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, it's really good.
I believe you.
I bought it like a year ago.
Come October 19th, I can taste all I want.
It'll be gone.
Well, I can still buy now.
You can.
I just can't have it until, I believe it's October 19th.
So what you're saying is you're stocking up?
I haven't bought anything either. Actually, I removed everything from my house. But I might buy some of that just so I can have it.
Oh, you're not going to find that.
Oh, I'll find it.
Nope.
I will find it.
Nope.
I'll go to my hotspot down in the Tri-City area.
Not available in Ohio.
Where do you get it?
Kentucky.
Oh, well, good thing the spot I'm talking about in Cincinnati is like 15 minutes from Kentucky.
Right.
So I'll just go there.
You just have to go to Kentucky.
Ah.
To Louisville.
Yeah, that's about where I go. Bardstown.
To the Woodford Reserve
Town
Distillery.
de la Bards.
Anyway, we have another topic today.
We do. It's a glorious day. It's beautiful out, man.
It is. That's why we had a day date with Liz and I.
Yeah, it's we didn't have it with Liz and you. You and Liz had one.
Liz and I did.
I did not get the invite.
We went and did some day drinking. We had a donut and beer pairing this morning.
Donut and beer pairing?
Yes.
Where is that at?
That was at Double Edge in Lancaster.
In Lancaster?
Yes, in Lancaster.
Right on.
So we did that because it's Brew Week here in the Fairfield County area.
Oh, I didn't know Fairfield County, Ohio needed a week.
Well, it's leading up
celebrate.
It's leading up to the weekend.
I mean, the main vein of the heroin highway runs right through here. I'm surprised they even give a crap about any kind of alcohol. Well, that's a daily occurrence. They're like, nah.
There's some of us special people that like our craft beer. Unlike that shithole. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. Platform Brewery in Cleveland sold out to Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they're no longer a craft beer
Wah, wah, wah.
brewery anymore.
There goes your PSLs of beers.
No, because I don't drink a whole lot of them anyway. So, guess they have to remove "Drink Local" from their slogan.
Well, but there's the Anheuser-Busch plant in Columbus, so
Nah, don't care.
still local.
Not craft brew.
Well, but that doesn't have to do anything with drinking loco.
Yeah.
Loco,
Loco.
which is
Locos.
Spanish for local.
Four locos.
It means right here.
No,
and
loco is
Espanol.
crazy. Anyway,
Yeah, potato, tomato.
so
They're
then we
both
went
Spanish.
to another brewery, and I bought cans of some other beer, and we drank beer. And then we went to Lithopolis to an art show and drank wine.
Fancy.
And now I'm having a glass of rye.
Have you ever been to the winery down on 674 there?
Rockside?
Yeah, I don't
Really
know
nice
what's going.
one? Yeah.
The one right by Marcy.
Oh, no, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I've been
that's
there.
a pretty
It's
nice
been
place.
A couple years ago. Yeah,
Not bad.
yeah. We have friends who make wine, and so we were over just standing in their little mobile wine dispensary,
Nice.
which is a 1960s like Airstream.
Nice.
Making wine.
There you go. And now you're on rye. Rye whiskey, rye whiskey.
That's right.
Good stuff.
Drinking whiskey and rye.
So, I mean, you might as well give a review. That's what we do. It's a one-person review. I like Woodford bourbon, so I'm sure if they make it, I would enjoy it.
Yeah, it's an experimental, like they do these small experimental things that we'd talked about before. And
Right.
This is one of those. And I found it at the Party Source about a year ago.
Oh, so you've had this and just never... You waited until I wasn't drinking any to try it.
No, I pulled it out today because you weren't drinking any. It wasn't. I just waited until you weren't.
Yeah, because you didn't know.
Yeah.
You didn't think I'd ever, not...
I just went ahead and pulled it out today and said, "Oh, he's not drinking. I'll drink this."
There you go.
I
Well, it's a
don't
small
have any
bottle,
gift.
too, so...
It's a 30 or a 350 milliliter bottle.
Yeah.
That was $60.
It's expensive.
Half the size, twice the price.
Yeah.
So, it's a rye. I don't remember exactly what the conditions are around. I'd have to go get the bottle, and I'm too lazy to go down and get it.
Or Google it.
Well, that's the thing. I couldn't even Google it
Oh, really?
because
Not Googleable?
it's not Googleable. About the only thing that comes in a bottle like this is their double,
Yeah.
which is the double oak.
Right.
But this is, it's a rye. It's good. It's kind of spicy, but mellow.
It's not your normal bourbon.
It's not a bourbon at all.
Right.
So, but it's kind of spicy, but then it has a nice mellow finish.
And we know it's not a bourbon because a couple episodes ago, we went over what a bourbon is. I still haven't heard from Greg on that.
Well, I already said this is a rye.
He was on vacation, though, so maybe he hasn't caught up.
Catch up. So, like I mentioned earlier,
Oh, wait, how many donuts? You got to rank it.
2.
All right, 2 donuts. Let's move on.
2. It's good. Buy it.
I love how our ratings 1 to 5, and we're always like 2. It's really good. You should get some.
Yeah, go ahead and buy some.
Like, that's below F.
I know.
It's like F minus.
Well,
Or F3 or whatever
It's-
DJ's racist grading system was.
I give it a 2
Well, the price and availability hurts it.
because of the price and
It's,
availability.
I mean, you're talking a regular sized bottle at that price point. You're talking 100, 120 bucks.
Probably end up being a little more than that.
Yeah,
even.
that's steep. So,
But I give it a 2 because of price and availability. I say buy it because if you can find it,
yeah,
buy it.
yeah, because you're not
Because you're not
to
going
be
to
able to
find
get
it
it all
again.
the time.
I mean, it's not something that they're constantly producing.
If you're listening, buy this. Email us at buckhornpodcast@gmail.com, and we will give you an address where you can send it to.
Right. That works.
There we go.
I'll give you our P.O. box.
And that's how I get a bottle.
P.O. box.
Po box.
So, last episode, we did Pretty Boy Floyd.
Pretty
And
Boy.
I'm still trying to get some answers on some family connection. I asked my aunt, and she's like, I ain't never heard anything like that. So, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to follow up with some other family members because that family reunion thing hasn't happened yet. But today, you wanted to talk about Mr. Mudgett.
Yes, sir. Well, this is one you mentioned weeks ago.
I did.
Before even talking about Pretty Boy, and I was like, yes, that's a fantastic one to cover because there's so much mystery around him and his murder castle. There are things that we are going to say that, let us preface this by saying we're giving the info as we've found it. There's a lot of out there that has been proven. There's a lot that's been disproven, and everybody kind of has this we don't really know because he was such a con artist.
It's so high level. Like, I quit writing stuff down.
Yeah, we've listened to other podcasts. We've looked up online info, watched videos, and almost every one at some point they go, we don't really know if this is factual, but this is the best that we can kind of surmise from the information given.
He lied through his teeth about
all the time.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
So it's hard for us to sit here and say, hey, this is factual. We just hope it's kind of entertaining and maybe enlightening if you don't know the story behind Mr. Mudgett.
Yeah.
Maybe you've never heard of Mr. Mudgett.
Maybe you've heard of him as H.H. Holmes.
H.H. Holmes.
What up, Holmes?
What up? Oh, you weren't talking to me.
No. So, I don't know much about him other than what I listened to and saw recently, but you have done a little bit more research on this gentleman. What I can tell you is he was born in 1861 in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. I can't even, my tongue don't work.
We're here for them.
He was born in Gilbert. Fuck it. He was born in New Hampshire.
Oh, man.
Small town.
Small town. What was that small town's name?
New Hampshire.
He was born in New Hampshire, New Hampshire.
So nice, they named it twice.
There you go.
He is also considered the U.S.'s first serial killer, even though there are other.
Right, that's the first myth we found.
There are other serial killers who have been found to be going on at the same time frame.
And here's the thing: I mean, everybody calls him America's first serial killer. Multiple articles we've read has named him that, and then everybody else went, "Wait, these people died before he was born, and they're definitely verified serial killers." So.
Right.
He's not the first. He is the first, I would say, like, media glorified case. Like, this is back when newspapers started becoming, like, the press was growing.
Right.
I would say he was more glorified than his predecessors. Before him, because you're talking late 1800s. Before him, everything was pretty much word of mouth.
Right. And
I know print had been around for a while, but he became almost, it's like celebrity status.
He was front news.
Yeah.
Or front page news.
Right. Because serial killer, I mean, there have been people for eons.
Well, there's Jack the Ripper, which.
And, well, I'm talking even in America. Well, yeah, I mean, in the world, it's been happening for years. Vlad the Impaler, you know. There's a big one we could cover.
Merlin.
So. Stop. But yeah, they call him America's first serial killer. He was
because he ate a lot of cereal.
He loved what it was is when he died, they found a hidden pantry and a passageway in his murder castle. And on the walls, he had all these shelves. They thought they were going to find like skulls of the bodies, but it was just boxes of Captain Crunch, Fruity Pebbles.
He was ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was an innovator when it came to killing cereals.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was kind of creepy, you know, when you open the door.
Jars of raw milk.
Like if I went down to your pantry and saw 2, 3, even 5 boxes of cereal, like on Seinfeld, there was boxes of cereal that never changed through all the seasons on top of the fridge, but it never looked out of place. But you're talking a corridor of even the outdated ones. He's got some of the Ghost Blueberry.
Ooh.
He's got some of the Count Chocula.
The Count Chocula. There's Blueberry. Count Chocula, the strawberry, Franken strawberry, whatever he was.
He had all of those.
There was a wolf.
There was a wolf. I forget that one.
Yeah.
He has Twix from back when they were still fruit shaped.
Yeah.
Serial killer, just slammed on it.
Not for real. He was considered the devil of Chicago, and he trained as a surgeon. So he had his PhD.
He did. He's actually
from Michigan.
He's actually a very smart guy. The fact that he graduated from the University of Michigan tells me all I need to know about why I don't need to like Michigan. Go Bucks.
Well,
it's football season. Let's go. Ugh. It is upon us.
Now we got to put up with this bullshit.
Yep.
Him graduating from Michigan has nothing to do with my bearing on my thoughts about him.
No, I don't like him, but I don't like Michigan either. So kind of.
I don't like Michigan because I think the roads are shitty.
I don't like Michigan because their team sucks.
That has no bearing on.
Go Bucks again!
On
all
the
right,
people who live there. So born in 1861, and all of these murders happened around what it was 1890s ish. I think is what it was.
Yeah, I think so.
So he ended up, he went to school. They say he was bullied as a kid. He lived in a strict household. But that just kind of, as psychologists would look at it today, shaped him to be the con artist and death machine he was.
Yeah, what I know of him, he was bullied, but he wasn't, like, they say he was a good looking guy. They say he was smart, But kids picked on him, and they actually made him stand in front of a skeleton, like a human skeleton, at a doctor's office or something, and stare at it to face it because he was like terrified of death.
Oh.
And they made him face that fear, and they basically saying that things like that got to where he wasn't not only did he face that fear and overcome it in a healthy way, but it kind of got him obsessed with it. So it became more of a, okay, now I'm not afraid of it, and I think it kind of unleashed that. I don't know if I want to say curiosity about death or the macabre. It no longer. It was skeletons, ghosts, ghouls, and all that crap. As a kid,
holding him back.
It didn't hurt. As a kid, he stopped being afraid of this stuff, and he saw it as something that was more interesting.
Okay.
And then, as far as his home life, what I heard from his parents, it wasn't as bad as some that we've studied. It was said that when he was a kid, he used to be abusive to animals and stuff. That's a myth.
Yeah, never abusive
his
to
mom
animals.
actually said that he loved animals, especially dogs. Huge dog fan. Just like us. We love dogs.
I like kicking puppies, too.
And, I don't kick them.
I'm kidding.
I just drown them in ponds.
Yeah.
So
I don't do that either.
No, we love dogs. We're kidding.
Dogs.
Don't repeat us. Don't repeat us or report us. But you can repeat us.
Send me pitas.
Ooh, pita bread.
Yeah, I love pita bread.
Oh, I haven't had bread. I've had like 4 pieces of bread this week.
But it's unleavened, so you should be fine.
Oh, okay. Well, that's how you get to heaven.
Right.
So growing up, he got picked on to a weird extent. Back then, bullying has always been bullying, but it's definitely different than now. Now you can do it online, you can hide it. Then it was, we're going to take you to this doctor's office and force you to stand in front of a real human skeleton that you're terrified of and laugh at your discomfort. And he got tortured through that. And the bullying was in such a way that I think what I would say is that he, and I'm definitely a professional, I know exactly what I'm talking about, and all my in-depth research as a psychologist and psychiatrist that I never got a degree for, I think that he associated that skeleton/death with the anger and hatred he had for all those kids bullying him at a young age. Does that make sense?
That does, yeah.
So as he got older, it's kind of to me, I see it as a way for him to control those feelings and harness them. I have control if I'm the one doing the killing or whatnot.
Right.
But that's just kind of my unprofessional take on it.
I would agree with that. A couple other things. So he grew up Herman Webster Mudgett.
Yeah, man, what a rough name.
That didn't help.
None of those names, Herman, Webster, or Mudgett, are getting you any cool points.
No.
Like my name, I've always said my name's kind of boring, but if I was named Herman Webster Mudgett, I'd go by a bunch of different names too, probably.
I would definitely pick a different name.
And I've got a close buddy he's got a name that is unfortunate. I'm not going to say it on the air, but it has haunted him.
But we're going to call him Randy.
Yes. No, and I'll tell you off the air, and I don't know if you know him or not, but it's an unfortunate name, and as an adult, like, he cannot escape. It's not like he gets shoved into lockers that I'm aware of. No.
Ashley.
No.
Kim.
Nope.
Sam.
Nope.
Bocephus.
Yes.
Sweet. Got him.
Bocephus Cornelius.
Yep.
So, but yeah, Herman Webster Mudgett got picked on.
I didn't bully people in school, and I would bully him just because.
Right. I don't know what back then. I mean, you look at names back then, like Alva. My great grandpa's name was Ivan. Like there's older names. Ethel.
Yeah.
There's some that are real crazy. I don't know if those were. Herman wasn't that uncommon a name not so long ago, so that's not the worst. But the Mudgett thing, man, I don't know.
Yeah. So
people have gotten bullied for less.
Yeah, definitely. So he went by a different name when he ended up moving to Chicago after college.
Yeah. And he moved to several places through his life, but Chicago's what he's known for.
Chicago's where he's known for. He's been to Cincinnati, Toronto, St. Louis,
Denver. Yeah,
Fort Worth.
He tried, and we'll get into some scams he pulled, but they said when he got to St. Louis and tried to pull scams, they were like, we ain't having none of this crap. And
Fort Worth.
They was there too.
Oh, there too.
He went from Fort Worth. I believe we'll get into it.
Fort Worth to St. Louis.
To St. Louis. In both places, he did jail time.
Get out.
For different cons and insurance fraud.
So, his first victim, which is not who they consider to be his first victim, was a college mate, I believe. So he just poisoned him. That was it. Done deal. Then they don't really consider that to be his first official victim.
Did they prove it was him that poisoned him?
They can't prove that the 9 victims they have on record were him. So,
and that's another thing that's a common myth. They're saying that there are 9 confirmed victims that they know are him, but
they don't know how many.
They don't know how many more. And a lot of accounts you'll find if you Google them will say hundreds.
Hundreds, right.
But nothing's been proven.
Right.
So it could be 9, it could be 300. We don't really know. It could be 12. We don't know.
It's also all based on what H.H. Holmes actually said.
And every time he told the story, he told it different.
Right. So, his first roommate, or his first killing was actually a someone from college. And I believe that was before, let's jump back. So we jumped forward a little too far. That was before he moved to Chicago.
Right.
So.
That was in Michigan.
In Michigan. So while he's at Michigan, he would steal cadavers, got into the macabre.
He disfigured them.
Steal them, get to, understand the body and some other things.
Not only that, he would disfigure them and try and claim insurance for the bodies by saying they died in some kind of bizarre accident.
Well, I think that comes as part of a lot of the stuff that he did after moving to Chicago, and some of his other ventures in other cities.
But that started in Michigan.
Oh, that started
when he stole cadavers from the lab. He would mangle them, say they died in an accident, in order to collect the insurance money on that death. Insurance apparently back then was a lot different than now. A lot different than now. Ooh, this water's getting to my head.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, that's where it started, and I think the whole thing, it doesn't say a lot about how he, like with Pretty Boy, we learned he was very poor. He lived on a cotton farm. He stole to get out of poverty.
Right.
With Holmes, it doesn't really give us that background.
No, it just says that he.
But we know that he was a con man, and we know that he made a lot of money, and then lost a lot of money, and then made a lot. He went up and down.
Yep.
As a con man, so yeah, he would take these cadavers, say, "Hey, this person died." Tell the insurance company, whoever had insurance on them, and he would just get the money. I guess that's. I mean, as far as we can read.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and here's the other thing. So he's kind of like a crooner. We talked about a dapper guy that Pretty Boy Floyd was. He was very good looking, had the handlebar mustache, kind of clean cut. He would talk his way into becoming the beneficiary on policies of women that worked for him. And other people went throughout his life, and then they would mysteriously die. That's one of the biggest insurance scams he would pull.
Right.
So that's how he got the money.
Right. So, but let's not jump too far ahead.
Sorry.
So, he moves to Chicago and becomes a pharmacist.
Right.
How's he become a pharmacist?
Yeah, he got a college degree.
He does. But I'm sure that Chicago has plenty of pharmacists. But he buys a pharmacy.
Well, he started working at one first, right?
I think so.
He worked at it, and then the owner died of natural causes.
Were they?
That's what we were told. And where it gets fishy, so he's working at the pharmacy. There's a couple of notes that the gentleman supposedly dies of natural causes.
And I've seen 2 different stories on that.
Right. And I, like we said, all of this is, we're kind of giving our opinion based off of what we've read and everything. This just goes to show how good of a con man he was. I mean, forget the whole...
Well, and they also didn't have... The autopsies weren't that great back then.
No.
100 years ago, 150 years ago.
Right.
The autopsies weren't, oh, yeah, he died of,
And they didn't have any NCIS guys out there.
Yeah, they weren't out there fingerprinting and then going, oh, hey, look at this.
I'm really glad you said printing because I didn't know where you're going with that. They weren't out there printing cadavers. Oh, let me go stick a finger up here right quick and find out how he died. Yep, he was poisoned.
He was poisoned.
I can tell.
Finger turned purple.
And that's before they had gloves. So supposedly the guy died, and he had made enough money on cons at this time that he bought the pharmacy off the widow.
But the truth is he bought the pharmacy from the widow.
Right. And
the
then
owner of the pharmacy died. We can't verify how he died.
And then he buys the pharmacy.
And then the widow disappears.
And then the widow, not only she doesn't die, she vanishes. So she gone.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't get. So if the owner died of natural causes, as I'm going to guess that.
Let's go with natural causes.
I'm going to say, because everybody else, they can confirm at that time, as far as we know, that when people were poisoned.
Right.
So he dies of natural causes.
Well, they only know poison because he admitted to it.
Holmes, well, so either way, so he dies, he's gone, regardless. Holmes buys the pharmacy of the widow. The widow goes, yeah, take it.
Yep.
My husband's gone. I don't want to run it myself. What incentive does he have, aside from being twisted and sick, to even kill her if it was him? Now, she vanishes. Doesn't mean he did it, but the evidence is kind of saying he probably had something to do with it.
He may have.
But why?
Just because.
That's what I don't get. Because he did. A lot of the serial killers you see the Jeffrey Dahmers and all this, a lot of them have tendencies all throughout their life. They kill animals. They play with animal bones. The way they talk, the way he didn't do a lot of that. He was bullied as a kid. He was mistreated, but he doesn't show those signs. So if he did legally buy the pharmacy off this widow, what incentive does he have to even mess with her? Just let her go on her life.
He's not really. The thing is when you go back and look at all this, the information that we have about him and that we're going to get into, he's not really a murderer. He's a con man.
Right, that was his big thing.
Is conning insurance companies or conning people out of money.
Right.
So,
and when he first started that, he was using cadavers.
Right.
People that were already dead.
Yeah.
He didn't kill them.
No. So he
just stole their dead bodies.
We don't know. There may be an insurance claim here that we don't know about that maybe he offed or got an insurance claim for that.
Could be.
And
we have no evidence. It's just record. All we know is she's gone.
She's gone. So we're in Chicago. We find out that he's bought this pharmacy. He also buys a place across the street.
Right. Buys the property. Right.
He builds the
3-story hotel.
Murder mansion. Or murder castle. Or the A.J. Castle. Or whatever we're going to call this thing that I've heard it called. Technically his first victim is Julia Connor. And she lived in the Holmes Castle with her husband, who was a jeweler. And Holmes and Connor ended up having an affair. And it broke up the marriage with Julia and her husband. And poof. Julia's dead. Husband's gone.
Yeah, let's go back to this. I think we need to study, because really the thing that fascinated you when you hadn't heard of this guy a few months ago.
No, I hadn't.
And I came over one day and you're like, dude, I just found out about this guy that built this insane murder hotel mansion castle.
Oh, we'll get into that.
And okay, because I really want to talk about even the building and construction.
We'll get into the building and the construction and
okay, I can't see your timeline of your roadmap for the show, so you go ahead.
Right. So we get the first victim.
Well, quote unquote, first victim.
First, as we're calling the first victim. I mean,
right.
It could be the third. It could be the 103rd. We don't know. So first victim done, out. Second victim is Emmeline Segrand. So she ended up works for Holmes. They have relations. They have a fallout.
They have relations involving a cigar.
Yeah.
That's where Bill Clinton got the idea from.
That's where Tricky Will.
Old Slick Willie.
Slick Willie got his ideas. They have a falling out. Off's her. Done.
She gone.
We get to our third and fourth victims, and then after this, we're not really going to talk about the victims anymore, because these are the ones that the last two that really matter in this series of things that happen. Minnie and Nanny Williams. Sisters. So we get to the sisters. This is 1893. He never claimed killing these two sisters. Now, he did claim killing Julia and Emmeline. And those are the only two
that he admitted to?
That he ever admits to.
Okay.
So from here on out, anything you hear is all speculation. It's his talking out, one side of his mouth and then
Right.
doing cornholio on the other side from...
That's impressive.
Right.
Talented individual.
He claims that Minnie killed Nanny with a stool over the head. Just
right.
Picks up a stool,
cracks it across her head.
And so they...
Blunt force trauma.
Yep, blunt force trauma. And they get rid of the body. Done. All right. But then Minnie disappears. And he collects insurance on both of them.
Right. So odds are he was the one that did the clubbing.
So, yep, odds are he's the one who does the clubbing.
And he's the one that then disposed of the other body.
Right. Now
both of them, but he says one of them killed the other. I helped her hide the body. But in reality, he killed them both.
He killed them both.
Okay.
Correct. So, there's another gentleman that I haven't mentioned
Wait,
yet.
I thought you said he confessed to those.
No, he did not. No, he doesn't. He doesn't confess to these.
Okay, he doesn't confess to those.
He does not. He says Minnie kills Nanny.
So what were the two he confessed to?
Julia Connor.
Oh, the first. Okay.
And Emmeline.
There's so much info.
Right.
It's so hard to decipher.
To keep track of everything. So and the timeline's kind of, we're going to,
back and forth,
we're going to kind of move around.
It's like a Back to the Future trilogy.
Yeah, it's
like part 3 is farther back than part 1, and part 2 is somewhere in between.
Right,
and,
so pay attention, because it's going to be a roller coaster after this. We got a gentleman by the name of Ben Petzel.
Pittizel.
Something like that. So
I believe it's pronounced Pittizel.
Ben, throughout this whole thing, is a partner with Holmes, along with another gentleman named Quentin.
Yeah. Now, Pittizel didn't become a partner. He traveled to Pittsburgh, met Pittizel, became a partner.
Right.
And came back for this. Pittizel was not through this whole life.
Not through the whole life.
Right. So I just want to clarify that after a trip to, I think it was Pittsburgh.
After a trip to Pittsburgh and back, he becomes a partner.
Right.
After the Minnie and Nanny.
And when we say partner, we don't mean business partner. The whole thing was he convinced this guy, hey, we're going to fake your death, use a fake cadaver I got because I'm a medical dude, and we're going to collect and we'll split the insurance.
Right.
So this dude, Holmes, I can't imagine how good of a salesman he must have been.
He was to
convince all these people that work for him to make him a beneficiary instead of their husband or wife or kids or whatever, and then tell this guy, hey, we're going to fake your death, split the money, win-win.
Right. Well, so I wanted to mention him because there's also a gentleman named Quentin, and I can't remember Quentin's last name. Quentin was the
Tarantino.
No. He was the janitor at the murder castle. So he was the one, he was
really liked writing movies.
Yeah. No. He was in cahoots, supposedly, with Holmes on some of these murders, like Julia and Emmeline, where they would see something happen to Julia or Julia's husband or Emmeline, where Quentin and Holmes were carrying a large crate out in the middle of the night.
Right.
So about the size of a body. And then Quentin's never mentioned again, so he's gone. We don't know what happens to him.
Vanished.
He just kind of disappears off the face of the earth, dies a happy man, apparently. But he's never mentioned again as being a cohort with Holmes throughout this process. We find out that Minnie and Nanny's rooms in the murder mystery hotel are being rented out with Minnie and Nanny's stuff still in it.
Okay.
So he doesn't clean out the rooms. He's just like, yep. And he kicks the doll
fully furnished.
Under the bed. Fully furnished. Here's a room.
Kicks the doll under the bed like nobody's staying here anymore.
Here. You're done. They gone. We're done. So in 1894, he marries he takes a wife. And her name was Georgie Ann Yoke.
Now, did we mention his other wives?
This is not his. I was getting there.
Oh, well, I don't have a roadmap.
Ruin it.
Spoiler alert.
Right. So he marries Georgie Ann Yoke.
Okay.
But what we find out at the same time is he's got 2 other marriages going on at the same time with 2 families. Like, he's got a wife and kids over here and a wife and kids over there.
I don't understand why anybody would want to do that. I love my wife and kids. I've got no desire
more
to have the time obligation to more.
No,
I strive to give my wife and my boys time. I make sure that when my boy wants to go outside and go ride on a scooter, I go for a walk with him. When our toddler wants to play, I get down and play with them. I can imagine then starting up a third family.
Right. So
stupid.
So we find out that he's got 2 other families going on. So Georgianne follows, like, they go to Denver. Things get kind of hot in Chicago. He needs colder climates. They head off to Denver. They go to Fort Worth. Things don't work out so well in Fort Worth. That's where he kind of gets run out of town on his little insurance schemey bullshit. They end up in St. Louis, where he does a stint in jail. I'm not real sure the
fraud.
time. It's for fraud, but I don't
Same
remember how much time he does.
Not much. I think they said it was like 3 months or so, if I remember right.
Yeah,
I've read from so many different sources; it's all blurred together.
It wasn't long. I mean,
Right.
it was pretty quick, because then he comes back to his hometown with his first wife,
Okay,
Clara Marta.
and he married her when he was only 19.
Right, and they have a son. So he pulls off the biggest scam of all. Basically said for the past 6 years he was in a railroad accident, had amnesia, married the nurse who was Georgianne Yoke.
Who was his third wife.
Who was his
So
third
he's still
wife.
his first wife. He only married his third wife.
And they're fine with it.
Sister wives. It's
Sure.
It's one of those Mormon 4-wife reality shows, except with
No
murder
reality
mystery.
shows.
Oh, it was very real.
Well,
just no cameras.
And Georgianne knew about so Clara didn't know anything about any of the murder mystery stuff. The killings.
She didn't know where her husband was, apparently.
Well, she didn't know anything about who her husband even is. She just knew him as Herman Webster Mudgett, because that's her name. Her name is Clara
Mudgett.
Mudgett.
What a surname.
Right. So, and
here's
Georgiana,
to you, Mrs. Mudgett.
no, doesn't even work on the song.
Nope, not at all.
Georgianne knows about all the cons, but she doesn't know about the killings.
Okay.
So she's in for the cons.
She's like, hey, he's making money. I don't care how he's doing it.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. He's
About to
making
buy
money.
me a new
Oh,
Cadillac.
he's married. Fine.
Whatever.
As long as
I
get
got
a
him
piece of
now.
that. So
Does she know about the second wife, though?
I don't think either of them know about the second wife. And in everything I've watched and seen, no one has mentioned the second wife.
Well, that article I sent you it tells us that after he married, scroll back up. So after he married Clara in 1878, he abandoned him in 1887 and married Myrta Belknap.
But that's it.
But there's not much on the marriage to her.
I mean, you got Belknap, but that's it. There's nothing after that. Like, there's no mention of Belknap in any other readings, videos.
Yeah. I don't remember hearing much about her.
There's nothing about her. So, she's a wash.
Kind of makes a fella wonder, don't it?
Anyway, they come back. They get back into... Or actually, let's go back. So, in 1893 is the Chicago World's Fair.
Right. And this World's Fair was like...
It's the World's Fair of World's Fairs
Yeah,
at this point.
it was innovative. There's stuff that never been seen before, never been done before.
That's where Pabst Blue Ribbon got its blue ribbon.
Right. Pabst.
Woo.
It said Pabst. What was it originally called? It's like Pabst Natural Tonic or something.
Yeah.
It's a beer. It wins a blue ribbon, becomes PBR, and now hipsters drink it while riding their fixie bicycles to Old Town Columbus.
And we have to hear about the blue ribbon every time.
And it was, I mean, it's on their, it's their name. It's in the can.
Yeah, drop it.
That's their identity.
Nah.
They want it. I mean, they want it.
I don't care.
If you win a World Series once and you retire, you're still World Series winner.
If you are, yes.
They are. They won it.
They're not good.
I didn't say they were good, but here's the thing. Back then, that was probably the best of the best.
Back then, yes, but you can't
if you win
carry
an award,
a claim
you
for
always
100 years.
Sure you can.
No.
Sure you can.
No.
Whoever won the Super Bowl in 1982, guess what? They're still the Super Bowl winners
The
in 1982.
team.
Yeah. But they can say, we won this for the rest of their life.
That team can.
That's what
Players
I mean.
of that team can.
So PBR, if the beer is still the company and the beer is still the beer, it's still the same.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No.
You're just mad because it's not a PSL beer.
I'm just mad because it's
Pinky's
not good
down.
beer. No. Pinky's
So
up.
anyway, the World Fair, that was the first time that they saw Chicago as the White City.
Fucking throw this at you.
And that's okay. They saw Chicago as the White City because all these new buildings with this beautiful exteriors, glistening white buildings, pristine, clean.
Everything.
The Ferris wheel.
The furthest from what
is
it
the
is
first,
today.
Yeah. Still a lot of killings going on.
Of the world.
Weird. Plot
He was
twist.
an innovator.
Plot twist. Descendants of H.H. Holmes run all the gangs in Chicago. They're just
End
more
of the
open
show.
about their killings.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Da-na-na-na-na. So yeah,
No.
it's like, I mean, the 1893 World Fair showed off more new innovations, technology. Like they said, that was the first Ferris wheel where you
Yeah.
could ride at the top and overlook the city and the fair. The World Fair was not like your county fair today or your Ohio State fair.
No,
this was a place where you went and saw what was happening in the country, what was happening in the world.
It was innovation.
It was
CES.
the way you got information.
Right.
Yeah, so it's huge. Anyway, where are you going with that?
Oh, I was going to go with, so during the World's Fair, there, as we know, wasn't a single person in town stayed at the murder castle, or the murder motel, or the murder hotel, or the motor lodge,
Right.
because I'm stumbling on my words.
Come on down to the Murder Motor Lodge.
So
Moto.
no one stayed at the Murder
No,
Mystery Hotel.
That's another fallacy.
Because Holmes wasn't even staying at the Murder Mystery
Wasn't
Hotel.
even there in town.
He was on the other side of town.
Right. A lot of the reports early on in the early papers said that he killed upwards of 200 people just during
that
the World
time.
Fair, but he wasn't even there.
He was there. He was just on the
But,
other
I mean,
side of town.
yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't in the vicinity to even do it.
Right.
So,
He did visit the hotel because of a fire, but it was all contained. He went back to where
yeah.
his
And
other home.
He went away to stay away so that he didn't get caught. He had several contractors, and the hotel was also being built during this time. So it wasn't like he could have people stay there. And
Yeah,
kill
we don't
them.
know exactly when it was built. We really don't even know exactly when it was gone or how much of it still exists today, if any.
If any. I think the one video that we watched said that the
Part
last of the last of the building was actually tore down in 1940.
But
to
that
make
was
way for the
proven.
post office.
That was proven to not even be true. Maybe.
Maybe.
Even in the video, they're like, we can't really confirm this, but this is what we think.
And we think this might be the basement.
Right.
Maybe.
They went from a basement of one building, and then they walked underground and said, now this should be part of the basement
Of
that
another
was
building.
under the H.H. Holmes building.
Right.
So it's kind of a speculation.
It's all gets kind of crazy. So
But he has this built just before or around the time of the World Fair.
and he's had several. So not one contractor built this building. He would
Right.
hire one guy to do a room or a hallway
Or a certain
or
job.
a certain job at this thing because he didn't want anybody knowing how this
To
hotel
figure
was
out
built.
that, yeah.
Because the hotel was kind of crazy.
Oh, and back then you didn't have codes like today. Like
No.
when I was a commercial electrician, we would have the blueprints for the general contractor. We would have for the electrical, like I could look at the plumber's blueprints, compare it to our blueprints. You know, so
To
we
make
had
sure things did.
yeah.
fell
You
into
have
place.
blueprints for everything when you're building new construction these days. Back then, he could just say, "Here's what I want done." Then go do it. There was no code.
Build this room, this hallway, stop here.
Do it this way.
Build this room, this hallway, stop here. Build this room, get out. you
Yeah.
know. And so the way that this building was built, there were stairs that led nowhere, rooms that had no way out once you were in,
Yeah.
hallways that had doors that opened to nowhere.
They literally, you'd open a door and just be a wall.
It would just be a wall, a brick wall.
Yeah, and they did have blueprints. It said that the contractors did see that stuff in the blueprint. I mean, they knew they were building a door to nowhere.
Right.
But if they got suspicious, he'd get rid of them.
He'd get rid of them as fast as they could.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if he ever killed. He had to have killed people doing that too. You'd think somebody had to go, why are we building 100 windowless rooms?
Right.
why are we doing this? And get real curious and be like,
well, and there's speculation that because he was a con artist.
right.
He was stealing bicycles. He was stealing furniture. He was running these cons here and there, and that's why they think that the hotel was originally built was...
It was a warehouse.
He could warehouse bikes,
but the contractors didn't know that. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So you got to figure some of them ask questions, even if it was he just planned on
out of curiosity
storing furniture in a room. They start getting nosy.
Right.
I got to figure he probably offed one or two of them.
He may have,
and that's pure speculation.
So
but
and there's even guests that have stayed at the hotel and left, like that he didn't off. Like I remember walking down a hallway, opening a doorway, and seeing a room full of furniture, and the next day that room of furniture was gone.
Yeah, it was empty.
It was empty. There was so he was running cons on bicycles and furniture,
whatever he could
to make and to.
I mean, he started off running cons on cadavers.
Right.
I feel like furniture and bicycles are easy after that.
I would hope so.
Yeah, less of a.
I know a guy.
Right. I got a bike guy, I got a furniture guy, and I got a cadaver guy.
I got a body guy. What are you going to do with the body? I got a guy.
I got a guy.
So,
everybody in Chicago's got a guy.
So they've got you can't imagine, like I'll have to post a picture of this, what this layout was, because you can't imagine just how intricate the
complexity of his design.
It's kind of crazy. There's hidden trap doors, there's slides, and
he designed. Here's the thing too that I've always said, and certain people when I talk with them about serial killers, murderers, I've said it before on here. I am absolutely fascinated by the way the human mind works, especially people like serial killers and murderers, because not all of them. Some of them are just wackadoos that are bipolar or whatever. But guys like this that can draw up those kind of plans and think that far ahead, that takes a certain level of brilliance. You got it's pure genius to think that far ahead. But even the ones that don't build, the ones that plan out such intricate murders, and some like we talked about briefly before we started recording about the Benders. The Benders were this family of 4 people that did so many killings. They've proven that they've eaten people and all this, but they vanished.
Yeah,
like there's a certain level of intellect that has to happen to pull that crap off. So Holmes, like, he was no dummy. A lot of people think like, oh, they're the scum of the earth. Well, they are.
They are.
But they're not idiots.
No, they're probably...
That's how they get away with this crap.
They're a lot smarter than you and I, because I couldn't get away with it. Especially today.
Yeah, that's why I don't try it, because I'm dumb.
Well, I wouldn't try it today.
I would have 150 years ago, but not today.
So,
H.H. Martelle.
H.H. Martelle. M.M. Martelle. So he was part of one of his schemes was, we talked about buying and selling, bicycles and certain furniture. He would sell the skeletons of his victims to medical science.
Yeah, another way to make money.
Right. I mean, it's always something.
He's like, hey, I'm in medical science. You're in medical science. Want to buy this body off me, this skeleton here? I got some really nice organs.
He was basically...
And that's how he became a piano salesman.
Oh. Isn't that an organ salesman?
Well, tits for tats.
Anyway. It's a fucked up organ. And then we talked about Benjamin.
Yes. Benjamin Pettizel.
So we talked about him faking his own death.
Yeah.
He faked his own death. And then what actually happened was Holmes killed him.
Yeah.
He didn't fake his own death. Holmes actually killed him.
Yeah, he convinced this guy to leave his family to get involved in this for the insurance claim of $10,000. Do you know what $10,000 is in today money?
It's like $10,001.
Close.
Okay.
Nearly $300,000.
See,
That's a chunk. Because I was like $10,000. I mean, like that's good, but I didn't expect it's $300,000, right? It's like $297 some change. So he talks a guy into this. This guy has a wife and children, 4 children.
Yep.
And this dude's thinking, yeah, I could use some money. I've got a wife and 2 kids. I could use a couple $100,000 myself.
You want to fake your own death?
So, no, I don't trust you. M.M. Martelle.
I'll give you half.
M&M Martelle. Slim Shady. That's why you always stand up. You say it's your sciatic, but it's because you're Slim Shady.
Yeah. So
Somebody dial 911.
No, don't do it.
Martelle did it.
So
I'll show the serial killer, and then what if you went ahead and published this?
I know.
Worst serial killer ever.
Hey.
And by serial, I mean one guy.
Right.
Yeah, so anyways, he talks Pizzle into, here's the thing that blew my mind, though. He goes, we're going to fake your death. I've got this dead body. The dude knows he has dead bodies.
Yep.
We're going to find one that looks kind of like you. And we're just going to say that's you.
Yep.
You get the money, go back to your wife and kids. Life's grand. And then Holmes goes, it'd be way more convincing if I just used his body and kept all the money for myself.
Right.
So he just kills him.
So he kills him. And then he turns around and goes, hey, we've got Benjamin's body to the family, the wife and kids.
Right.
But I don't think your kids should be involved in this. I'm going to send them over here with this person.
So he takes them away from mother.
Away from the mother.
And shuffles them around.
But he shuffles them around with, dun, 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 Minnie. I thought Minnie was dead.
She'd been dead for a year at this point.
No, she hasn't.
Bum, bum, bum.
Right? So Minnie's got the kids. He takes the wife. And
now, see, one video I watched, they said he took him with somebody, said it was Minnie, but Minnie was dead. This is why this dude blows my mind.
All right. Yeah, in the video.
Because you and I, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but a lot of the videos say one thing, then you'll find another video that says another. This dude was brilliant.
He's completely thrown everybody off the track. So we're going to go with Minnie's not dead.
Minnie's alive. She's with Mickey
at this
down
point,
in Orlando.
And
he's like, kids, I'm going to take you to the happiest place on earth.
That doesn't exist.
We are taking you to Minnie.
Actually, I think Disney doesn't exist yet. So we're good, because Disney didn't exist till like the 50s.
No, this is how it became Disney. I'm trying to, this is what started it.
Gotcha.
You go down Minnie.
So H.H. Holmes is Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Okay. So he takes the wife, officer.
Right. She gone.
Now he's got 4 kids, but in the process of doing this, he's got the wife traveling in circles. He's got the 4 kids traveling in circles. He's got Georgianne Yoke traveling around.
And that's how Ringley's Traveling Circus got started.
Right. So
this guy was an innovator.
He's got all these people moving around the country, like Philadelphia, Chicago.
He's playing chess.
Yeah.
He's moving pieces everywhere.
But in some cases, they're on the same train together.
And don't know it.
And don't even know it.
Right.
The wife is on the same train as the kids and don't even know it. His third wife is on the same train as he is, and she doesn't know that he's on the train that Georgianne's on, that the kids are on, that the wife's on, and this is where shit gets really fucked up.
Oh, this is where it gets complicated, people.
Yeah, this is
I hope you've come to this point, because it's about to get confusing.
So, he gets...
Plot twist.
He ends up killing the 4 kids because...
Right.
Kids are, they'll ruin your lifestyle.
They're leeches, man. And they drain your... He took them to Disney. He's like, these kids are too expensive. He bought one of them a $60 princess dress.
Yeah, and it's just...
And that dress didn't cost those Asian kids that made it. It didn't cost Disney $1 to buy that. So, and Holmes is like, you know what? This is a racket. Screw Minnie Mouse.
Right.
I'm killing these kids because I'm not feeding them any more Kraft's mac and cheese.
And 3 out of the 5 kids he killed. Gone.
Was it 5 kids? I thought it was 4.
5 kids.
Yeah, potato, tomato, they're all dead.
They're all dead. At this point, now they're all dead. So he claims to have killed 3 out of the 5 kids. But there may have only been 4 kids. Yeah. So, and then he does some more time in jail for some other things. He never actually gets caught at this point for any of the murder stuff.
Right, at this point.
But he does more time for some his scams and cons. But he gets kind of boisterous about what he's done.
Yeah.
So he starts talking.
Yeah. I think it's the thing you did back then.
And jail mates,
he's
I did
bragging.
This and I did that. But some of the shit that he was talking about, he didn't even do.
Right.
He would tell one story to one person. He would tell the same story to somebody else in a different way. And
he was a con artist.
Tell a complete lie.
He was a Ponzi, man. Everything was a lie.
So...
It reminds me of in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where that, what's his face? He's like, I'm a salesman. What do you sell? He said the truth, every bit of it. He says he's a Bible traveling salesman, gets him under a tree, knocks him out, and robs him.
Well,
everything he did was a lie.
Right.
Lied to his wives, lied to his kids, lied to his associates.
And that's everything that this guy's done. So up to this point,
and that's why it's so hard to get facts on him, because people that knew him closest, like his wife and children and cellmates, they have conflicting stories because that's what he told them.
So up to this point, he has not been convicted for or caught for any murder. So if he would have just kept his mouth shut instead of being egotistical,
he would
maniac,
still be here today, and we would get to stay at the murder mansion.
Right. Maybe. So his cellmate is the one who ends up bringing him down. His cellmate confesses to whomever, judge, jury, sheriff, hey, that dickhead over there, he told me he killed these people.
Well, I thought it was, scroll back up there a bit, there's something else to it.
Well, there was...
So he says, while he's in prison, that his former cellmate was a Wild West outlaw called Marion Hedgepath.
Yeah,
and he
Hedgepath's
went to the
who...
press and everything and said that he devised a scheme for swindling the insurance company of $10,000. He promised this guy $500 if he gave him a good, suitable lawyer to pull this off. Again, the same scheme, trying to get $10,000 from the insurance. Dude helped him out, but Holmes never paid up. So he did this as a way to get back to Holmes. He went and shared all the information Holmes gave him to the police.
Right, that's what I said.
I'm just trying to
skipped all that.
So you didn't say it.
Well, no, I said Hedgepath, who I didn't name, told the sheriff.
I'm filling in the blanks.
You're filling in the blanks.
I'm painting pictures with my words.
Yeah, I skipped all that.
Like, I'm Bob Ross, you're Jackson Pollock. You're like, just throw this.
I'll just throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
See what's on the canvas. Everything outside the canvas is still important in these stories. I'm painting happy little trees that have friends, and you're like, no, screw all that. I'm just going to say this one thing.
I think
you have to figure out what I'm thinking when I took my crap and flung it at the canvas.
No one can even keep up with where we're at this point.
You're Picasso, man.
We can't even keep up with where we're at this point because this guy has spouted so much shit.
Oh, man.
So, so Hedgepath, kind of Hedgeperth, P-E-T-H, Peth. So he, to get back at Holmes, he tells him, hey, that dickhead over there, he told me he killed a lot of people.
But they had no proof.
But
they caught him on an outstanding warrant.
Right.
For Grand Theft Equine.
Grand Theft Horsey.
Grand Theft Equine 4 was my favorite video game in 1902. I loved that game.
Right up there with Oregon Trail.
You got to steal horses. You got to ride all across the plains and pick up Wild West prostitutes.
And not do the rodeo.
Avoid the rodeo in Grand Theft Equine 4. You will not beat that level.
You will die from being kicked in the head by a horse. So Holmes was terrified of going back to Texas. That's where
Who wouldn't be terrified of going to Texas?
I mean, I love going to Texas.
Seems sketchy to me. I just picture the whole state full. Like, I have family in Texas, but I feel like when they cross into Texas, they all are Yosemite Sam. It's like, that's why they don't like people saying I identify as this, or I'm gay, or I'm black. No, we're all Yosemite Sam.
We're all Yosemite Sam.
Got them tiny little legs and them tiny little spurs.
So he didn't want to go back to Texas and confess to the insurance scam, but not the murders of Pitzel. There we go.
His associate.
Yeah, his brother in scams. He claimed to have gotten the body from a doctor and in New York who shipped it to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, not Pittsburgh. I was wrong earlier.
That's all right. So,
Philly. City of brotherly love.
Medical knowledge, he fit the body in a trunk.
Medical knowledge, a.k.a. I know how to fold stuff in half. I know how to cut stuff up and put it in my blender.
Break your kneecap here and fold it over backwards.
I bought a blender off a Billy Mays commercial 4 years ago, and let me tell you, it grinds up bodies perfectly to this day. But wait, there's more.
I know origami from the ancient Japanese.
Well, that's racist.
Why?
Because they're ancient.
But they fold origami.
They fold origami?
Isn't origami
the art of folding?
Fold origami?
So I don't think you can fold origami. You can't fold the art of folding.
Yes, you can.
Oh, well, see, I don't know what I'm talking about.
You can now. So, goes through all that. He almost got away with it, but then the inspector remembered that there was a body first discovered in full rigor mortis, meaning the person died recently. So the inspector asked what techniques that Holmes used and had learned to stiffen a body after rigor mortis had broken. Holmes had no answer, and the game was up.
Yeah. Basically said, yeah, that's all good and well, but what about this? And he went,
Oh, shit.
Sound like you trying to say a tongue twister.
Cuffed me.
Yeah,
so 5 days after Holmes was put in jail for murder, he confessed to 2 murders. Julia and Emmeline. I had to look down and see what her name was again. Julia and Emmeline are the only 2 murders that he ever confessed to. And right before he was hanged, he said, "Encase my body in concrete."
Right. 10 feet encased in concrete. Not 6 feet down in a casket. Bury me 10 feet under, encased in concrete, so that grave robbers could not exhume his body and dismember it.
Right.
This dude that did so many messed up things to so many bodies was like, yo, I know that whole do unto others as you want to have them do unto you, but I don't want that done unto me. Yeah. So could you go ahead and bury me in concrete? And they honored it.
So, and then Holmes was paid $7,500 by the Hearst newspaper to tell his story. This was before he was hanged.
Obviously. He should get way more if he did it after he was hanged.
Right, which is about $215,000 in 2017. And which
is funny. He told him, if you pay me $215,000, essentially, I'll tell you everything. And what'd he do?
He lied.
Shocker.
He lied.
I usually, when somebody's telling a story, or like when something's obvious, I usually say alert the press, ironically. But the press was alerted, and he lied to them.
And he lied again.
So through all of the...
To discredit himself.
Right. He ultimately discredited himself, but they... one thing, different newspaper reported...
spasm there?
Yeah. Oh, he said... Yeah, I was trying to find the quote. I was born with the devil in me.
Yeah.
So he's saying that was one thing that kind of stuck with him. Now, here's the thing that fascinated me through all the media garbage. He went to the newspapers to tell his story after he got caught. Tells them, pay me $250,000 in today's money. Tells them all different lies. The newspaper from the start, when they first started investigating this murder mansion, there's a police chief investigating this. He'd been on the job 2 months, and before that, what did he do?
He was a feed salesman.
Feed and flowers.
Yep.
He was a gardener, seller guy.
He was a
And they
botanist.
made him police chief. Had no clue what he was doing. So every time he went in to investigate this murder castle, he went, well, this must be what he did. Well, this must be what he did. So the newspapers ran with it and started printing it, right?
So 2 weeks after the police chief became police chief.
2 months.
Or 2 months. Sorry.
Yeah. He's basically saying, I'm going to blow this up. All these bodies, people have been coming up missing. The guys in charge before me had no clue what was happening. Diesel's bored. And he's like, this is my big break. I'm going to prove that I can be a police chief and I know more than just daisies and poppies. And he screws up everything. So it gets to the point where the newspapers keep reporting what he's saying, and then they come to find out that he's full of crap and doesn't know what he's talking about. So they all... basically, it discredits the police, discredits the paper, but what it reminds me of is today's media and the way that we... Bye.
Harley's going on her first sleepover.
Oh, fun.
I know, right?
She's so excited. Look at her.
She is.
Have fun. So, that was Martelle's youngest. Came in to say bye. And I was trying not to let people know, but that was a heartwarming moment.
Yeah, she came in to
It was like, I love my kid was all excited when he got home from hanging out with my mom and dad today, so I was like, oh.
She's
now let's go back talking about a serial killer.
So back to the serial killer.
So the thing that I love though is the way the newspaper finally went, we've been putting all this stuff on the front page. Then a week later, we find out you were wrong. So you say this is what it is. Then you're wrong about that. So they get mad at this police chief. He doesn't know what he's doing. The newspapers all report it. It just reminds me of today's Facebook.
Right.
How something happens, there's a mass shooting.
Blow it up.
Everybody starts sharing everything, and everything's contradictory, and then come to find out none of it's true. That shows me, when people say, we need to get back to the good old days, this is the kind of stuff I use for an example. It still happened back then. Mass killings happened. Media threw things way out of context and got people riled up. There was discourse in between different political parties or religious groups or even ethnicities, whatever. This is nothing new, people. The media sucks. Politicians sucks. Policemen are human too. Some of them sell flowers.
And corn.
My police buddies would love this if they ever hear it. Flowers and corn.
Flowers and feed.
Yeah, so as far as H.H. Holmes.
So 2 months into the chief's new job, they give up on Holmes altogether. They're bored with it. They're tired of all the misdirection.
Right.
And that is something that Holmes initially set up based on, I would say based on, it's all forethought into how everything was set up to go, but then also just the egotistical ass that was the chief who kept spouting out bullshit. But
I think Holmes played everybody. I think
he did.
I mean,
absolutely.
those doors that open up to a wall, those weren't done accidentally.
No.
Those were put there to make people speculate.
Right.
I truly feel like this dude really knew what he was doing.
The slides into the basement.
Yeah, he didn't just plan like, I want to have a hidden passageway where I can kill people and dispose of their bodies. He went, I want people to open these doors, walk through my murder castle. That's what I would call it if I build it.
Right.
Hey, come stay at my murder castle. And which this day and age people would probably flock to.
Well, that's what I call this house.
The murder castle?
Yeah, because I'm killing flies.
With your assault gun?
No.
You should get one of those.
I don't want one of those.
But anyway.
My fly swatter.
Flice water? Fleece water?
Fleece water.
Yeah, I think if there's more than one fly, it's a fleece.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it like moose?
It's like a gaggle of geese.
I fucking hate those things.
A maggle of meese. I think it's a fleece.
Okay.
So,
anyway.
What was I saying? Yeah, everything he did from the very beginning, I think was very well thought out. I think this guy was brilliant.
He was always 10, 11 and a half steps ahead of everybody else.
Oh, at least 7 minimum.
So, smash cut to, I don't know, what modern day. His ancestors had his body exhumed.
His ancestors?
Yeah.
You mean his descendants?
No.
The people that lived before him had his body exhumed.
Yes.
Cro-Magnon man came back from the past.
Hey, whatever.
His
descendants.
Why don't you do a little day drinking?
I should do some more. Yes,
his descendants.
His rescendants.
His decadents had his body exhumed.
Ooh, chocolate.
I think that's delicacies.
You said
Delicatessens.
Decadence. His decadence.
No, decahedron. That's what you're thinking of.
No.
That means 10 chocolates.
I'm thinking chocolates. Anyway. His descendants have had his body exhumed. Why? To make sure it was him. No other reason other than to make sure it was him. And there's a whole TED Talk on this that we're not going to get into because I didn't watch it.
So, we will be honest with you here, the Buckhorn Podcast. We don't know what we're talking about on this subject.
Every video title said, family has body of H.H. Holmes exhumed to make sure it's him.
Had to bust up all that concrete.
10 feet of concrete.
Was it 10 feet? He was 10 teats down. He was buried under 10 teats.
He was buried under 10 tits.
And then concrete poured on top of that.
Big, glorious
He just
udders.
went motorboating in the afterlife.
That's right. We don't know how much concrete it was.
We're going to be real honest, people. We don't know a lot about anything.
Well.
That's what you come here for.
See, we went through this whole show, told all this speculative stuff about a man who lied about everything he talked about.
And it came back to being buried under boobies.
And he came back to we told you lies about him being buried under boobies.
Thanks for listening.
Good night, folks. Pinkies up.
Peace.
See you guys.